Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have an incredible guest on the show today, Dr. Victoria Rader. Really looking forward to a conversation there, all things quantum, which I'm a really big fan of as well. We're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're also on the E360 TV network, Business Innovators Radio Network, and MSPnewsglobal.com. Let's bring in our incredible guest, Dr. Victoria Rader. Victoria, welcome to Brilliance Business.
Mark, thank you. Thank you for having me on today.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you. Let's get started with the show. Victoria, just share a little bit about yourself and share what is the quantum personal development world. Share a little bit more.
You know, I've had an amazing opportunity just a few years ago to be a participant in a project called Personal Development. It was run by Greg Reed, the author of 150 plus books, founder of Secret Knock, Wishmaker, Foundation Movie, and so forth, so on. And Greg did this personal development journey where for 12 months, every couple of weeks, we met the top leaders, the history legend of personal quantum development. And the pattern, while so impacted by all of them, has become more and more clear to me, is that while in personal development, it's mind over matter, it's true. What was missing quite a bit is the heart, the big quantum entity, right? We create life how we feel it, so we fill it. We fill our reality with the feelings of our heart. And so what was born during that journey for me was the very concept of quantum personal development, where indeed there is mind over matter, but first and foremost, there is heart over mind. Because when there is heart over mind, then your why maintains your what, which is your mind, and keeps up your how, which is the matter, the actions, the results, and the steps. That was a very organic beginning and the birth of quantum personal development.
I find really interesting, Victoria, a lot of technology now is really showcasing how the quantum world, one, does exist and how the technology can work in things like computers, which shows that the quantum field is actually there and it does actually make an impact on matter and things like that. And I also use heart coherence on a morning, which is really important, isn't it? Which you was just talking about as well.
Well, I think that the beautiful observation to add and expand to what you already said, right? It's not just out there, it is out here, it is everywhere. We are the field, you and I. As a matter of fact, I often say that when you start the journey into the quantum field, please understand that if God, great overall designer, the highest intelligence, the universe, had a better way to fill the time-space continuum that you currently occupy, it would have been done so. But it hasn't, which means you, Mark Stephen Pooler, and you, our beautiful listener and viewer, is the very best all of the quantum field is currently capable of. Isn't that the most phenomenal point of self-acceptance and self-love? You're irreplaceable, literally. You may not be replaced. You're a permanent fixture. Now your energy shifts quality, quantity, form, but you are a permanent fixture of an ever-evolving quantum field. So chew on that for the weekend.
Oh, yes, I like that. And I'm a big fan of Greg Braden, who talks a lot about quantum and the quantum field. And I also like knowing that we're very like holographic. So everything on the outside is actually within us like a hologram. And so that when you change the inside, you automatically change the outside as well.
Yeah, that is beautifully accomplished by two universal laws. I got to dive deep into how to make universal quantum mechanics and laws practical in daily life. And those two laws are the law of oneness and the law of entanglement. We're all part of one field, and that field is an entangled experience, because when you are a part of oneness, what is reflected within has to be reflected through without. They did an amazing entanglement experience where they took a little photon of light and they split it into two, and they sent it literally 6 miles one way, 6 miles the other way. And then they would agitate one of them, and the other one was showing the exact same qualities of performance. And so then we say oneness, but not sameness, because your inner world is entangled by the condition of your heart to your outer experience. You have the capacity to charge the quality of the inner world and maintain it, and then the outer world reflects.
I agree totally. I know about this experiment, and is it the split experiment as well, where it behaves as a particle and a wave on the back of the screen, and whether it's being observed or not. I'm a big quantum physics fan, Victoria. You teach a lot on worth. Tell us why.
Going back to our discussion here, to me, there isn't a greater subquantum principle than awareness of your worth. Because what I know for a fact, having done over 15,000 individual sessions, having delivered hundreds of public speeches and hundreds and hundreds of trainings, what I've learned is you cannot outperform your worth, not permanently. And what I mean by that is that, you come to an event and a great speaker says, dream big. And you're like, yay. And then you dream to the level of your self-image. Our self-image defines the level of our imagination. And our self-image is a reflection of our awareness of our worth. You cannot out-imagine the limited worth. And you can only create and attract within the limits of your imagination. And so when we dream big, we have a law of the lid that runs into our capacity to imagine. And our capacity to imagine is limited by self-image, which is a reflection of our worth. And so a lot of successful business owners lean in. This is a really $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion tip. If you're experiencing this in your business, it means you have a subconscious programming that you are worthy of making a certain amount. You're just not worthy of keeping it. And that's why the businesses are doing this up and down and up and down. It is still a question of worth.
I agree totally, Victoria. We have so much in common. I went on a big journey of personal development myself in all areas of my life. So relationships, business, health, and I had to go from one self-concept to a totally new self-concept. And so my question is, because I know the journey can sometimes be very painful as well. You have to let go of old versions of yourself. You have to really reprogram the mind and things like this. And I found modalities for me, like I use self-hypnosis. I even record my own voice because I prefer my own voice going into my own subconscious mind. I also sometimes listen to as audio recording while I'm asleep to help reprogram my belief system in all areas of my life. I find reading really good as well, especially if it's to do with fears and doubts. I'll use a little bit of like CBTs to get the true perspective rather than seeing it through a wound. I take a bigger look from the outside at the true perspective that I might not be seeing. So those modalities work really well for me, like a sleep tape, hypnosis, and obviously reading like from a CBT perspective. So I'm wondering what kind of modalities. I also do breath work and meditation daily, which is like maintenance as well. I'm wondering, about your modalities, actually.
Well, there is no wrong way to grow and expand, right? Or to heal. There is no wrong way to heal, to thrive. There's just some ways are more palpable, more measurable, more efficient. Some ways are more healing, more comforting, and it's a personal journey. Um, One of the modalities that we have launched over a decade ago is Free Me EFT, which was developed from a classical EFT that beautifully was created by magnificent men, and male energy purges and creates space, but was missing the feminine touch, which is the energy of nourishing and growth. And so we've launched a modality that is now taught internationally by our instructors of Free Me EFT, as to where after you purge the block, you actually get to properly affirm and tap into the heart, the new frequency. So that's one of the modalities. Then I'm one of the few most advanced theta healing practitioners and instructors in the world. I love theta healing. And then, of course, we have our own incredible quantum freedom subscription/group. Why? Because the environment in which you practice all of these modalities, and there's no wrong way, are modalities of individual awareness. And yet, Les Brown interviewed me once and he said, "Hey, you talk about the importance of environment. Are we all really susceptible to environment?" And I said, "Les, if you can walk into the ocean and come out dry, I will be at your knees and your feet and saying you are not susceptible to environment. But until that day happens, you and I will walk into the ocean, will come out wet." Now, what we do with the water is very important, but the environment of thriving is equally important. So one of the things we've created is a quantum freedom weekly environment as to where light workers grow and thrive at a very high quantum entanglement principle, when the shift within one is immediately offered and expanded to all. So of all the things that we do, this is probably by far my favorite, my, most soul nourishing things that we do. But what comes in real quick, 30 seconds, I know time is precious, is what I see in a spiritual and quantum reality right now is toxic, poisonous spiritual bypassing of your human part. It's very important for me to say right now that the greatest practice anybody can do is to fully, completely accept the scared, fearful, stinky part of you. It's not going to leave. The hero journey of I once was broke and then I became enlightened and I'm on cloud nine. I'm sorry for the bad word, is complete bullshit. It does not exist for human experience, for our spirit. What exists is every single day, that part of yours is going to say, I am present. I am the material matter that is coded to keep you in survival. And it's your job to tune into the eternal part of you and say, I hear you, I love you, I accept you, and I'm taking you on a ride of quantum possibilities. Because otherwise you're going to sit and say, oh, wow, what is wrong with me? How come they're all thriving and they have no challenges? Every human being, if you're breathing, your hero journey is a daily occurrence.
I
Very
agree. I agree. And I think when you try and suppress that part of yourself, or if you want it to go away, it doesn't. So you're much better staying in awareness. I call it your I am awareness. Stay in your I am awareness. Allow it to exist. Allow it to be there. You don't have to believe it. You can even be a bit bored by it, but like you say, loving it is the best way. Just knowing that you don't have to believe it, even though it's in existence. You can accept that it's there, and you can still focus on who you are and what you want with it being there. And I think it integrates a lot quicker than, rather than trying to suppress it, or if you want it gone. That doesn't work, Victoria. I know that from experience.
Yeah. Love, right? The answer is always going to be love. We look at love as life originating, vibrant emotion, energy in motion. This is my acronym for love. And because if it creates and adds to life, it is love. If it subtracts it, it no longer is. And so when that self-sabotaging pattern, just understand your every self-sabotaging pattern, your every fear is the best your body is capable to show you love because it wants to preserve your life. It is not interested in expanding it. And so when you say, thank you for loving me at the highest capacity you're capable of, I love you. That's just so important. It all comes down to love exchange. As a matter of fact, three things that pull you out of center of creation and manifestation is comparison, criticism, and complaining. And so if you catch yourself in those three, you're out of center and you cannot love. And love is what creates and manifests out of center. So the fastest way to come back to center, you hear yourself criticizing, comparing, and complaining. Say literally, I send nothing but love to that, because that actually yanks you back into your center. And then you can ask, and now what am I here to create at this moment?
I hear you. I hear you. And I've had like certain like fears and doubts, and there comes a point where, yes, you give it love if it's really giving you an emotional reaction or causing so that you're not feeling in your power, if that makes sense. But I also think there is a tipping point where it is just after that an old thought that is firing. If there's no emotional reaction there, it's just then you are allowed to just be okay with it being there and kind of just, because I think if you keep on showing it love, that's paying it attention sometimes as well. So I think you have to know the differences when something is causing an emotional reaction or when something is just on the way out and it's just kicking up a fuss because it's on the last part of bit fading out and there's no emotional reaction left, there's no belief left. And then I think it's okay then just to acknowledge it but be indifferent to it. Do you agree with that, Victoria? What's your point on that?
I think that it's neither nor, it's neither or. It is, to me, the whole point of existence is to be at a frequency of love because it is creating love, not love as a feeling of agreement, but love as a energy of creation. And so they're a little bit different, right? So what I mean is that when you say on the way out, there isn't way out. We're one energy. That's what I'm saying. And so, what changes, things are not coming in and out as much. They're going up and down in frequency. And so by you saying accept what is, that is the lowest frequency of love. Because when you accept, you allow. And when you accept and you allow, you pour life into it. So that is love. So, love is not lovey-dovey, huggy. It is this adding a life to my expression, or is it suffocating me? And I think another thing that's so important for us to understand is that every part of us that exists is an illusion of our awareness. It is our awareness. It is how we're aware of that part. And if we're aware of it as something that must be changed, it will remain as something that must be changed. If we're aware of it as something as simply is always loved, that puts you into that neutrality, less of indifference and more of neutrality of focusing on what you want. Yeah.
Being neutral to it. I think that's what I was trying to say, is being neutral to it. And then I think on the way out is the wrong word, but I think it integrates so it no longer feels like a threat. It no longer feels like a fear. And it's because you've accepted it, loved it, and then you're neutral to it. Neutral is definitely the word I was looking for there. Victoria, we're coming to the end of the show. How can people benefit from your work, and also who would you love to connect with you?
I think the greatest benefit for somebody who's watching and listening is to go to our site, you2shine.com, that you see running on the screen, shine.com. And there you can claim an absolutely free Quantum Leap workbook that has not only 50 shifts from limitation to expansion, but also a 12-minute free me EFT, completely free technique to get you there. What you're going to find is that out of those 50 limiting beliefs, or beliefs you've never thought about, and yet your life is actually showing back to you. So that's what I would say. If you're a mindful entrepreneur, a visionary coach, a speaker, light seeker, light worker, that is an incredible gift we have for you on our site.
I would encourage everyone to connect with Victoria. Go to you2shine.com. That's you2shine.com. Victoria, I thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation with you today. I truly could go on for hours and hours, because obviously I've been on this journey, so it's all about things that I'm so interested in as well, a quantum field, personal development, transformation. So I thoroughly enjoyed having a conversation today. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
The pleasure's been all ours. Thank you everyone for joining us for brilliant.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.